Today we're going to talk about altcoins, namely about two types of altcoins depending on how they perform and how the chart looks like. Before that, just a couple words about Bitcoin. It is still pretty much in the same sideways price action, exhausting us, keeping us waiting for the move, but at least we have higher highs and higher lows, and this is so-called broadening formation on the lower time frames, gives us a little bit of uncertainty, but at the same time at least we have an attempt to break higher instead of hovering around $7,500. So still, even short term, I think we have higher chance to go to the upside. By the way, I would have to tell a couple of words about the Lightcoin once again, because many people are referring, and I saw this on YouTube today, that people think that here we have the cup and handle formation for the Lightcoin to Bitcoin. And of course, guys, not a financial advice, but here is what I personally think. There is no doubt that this is crypto and maybe some formations, some patterns are a bit twisted and so on. But as soon as we break certain limits, some definitions, it is not technical analysis anymore. It is crystal ball predictions, and I wouldn't recommend you to trade based on those. So speaking about this cup and handle, the main point which would make me think that this is irrelevant, not only invalid but even irrelevant, is that for the cup and handle formation as a consolidation and continuation pattern for the trend, there must be some trend. So ideally it should be something like this. So we have the rising trend so far, and actually better to be a little bit longer like that. So we must have the rising trend. And after this trend, we have the couple formation with the depth maybe 1/3 to a half of the previous low, maybe 2/3, but this is the lowest point which is possible, so something like this. And then there should be a handle which would be like 1/3 of the depth of the cup. So if you look at this cup and handle formation or potential cup and handle formation, you will see that there is no trend. First of all, it's basically sideways before that, and the scale of this sideways price action is much smaller even than the cup and handle itself, which is ridiculous. It's basically the same as drawing head and shoulders formation without the chart before that. It's ridiculous. So first, no trend before that. Second, the depth of the cup is pretty much 100% of the previous low. I wouldn't consider those low weeks. So this was like the previous consolidation here. And then the handle was actually almost a half or even more than a half of the whole depth of the cup, which is again overextended. So again, of course, it is up to you to think whatever you like about the technical analysis, but this is my opinion. I wanted to share with you. And now let's look at the other coins which I was talking about, for example, Stellar. And I would like to point out some general trend and some specific patterns within this trend. So you can see, of course, that the price is going down, and we will look to altcoins in the price of Bitcoin, because in this way we will see whether the certain altcoin is stronger than overall crypto market or not, because usually altcoins are going together with Bitcoin, and then if in the price of Bitcoin they are going higher, then it means that they are stronger than Bitcoin, and in this way they are stronger than the market as a whole. So within this downtrend, what you can see is you can see these huge drops with small retracements and then continuation of the drop. For example, here as well, you see the drop, retracement, relatively sharp, and then continuation without making a new high somewhere around here, but continuing to go lower. Again, drop, sharp retracement, continuation with the retracement, and then falling even lower. Here, very, very typical formation. You see the drop, very sharp, even sharper than the drop itself, return to the upside, then retracement from this pullback almost to the half of the rise, and then consolidation at this level. So pretty much likely that we'll see something like this once again, not necessarily, but very, very likely that will happen like this. And this is basically the characterization of the downtrend of the coin. You can find many examples like that. For example, our beloved XRP. So you can see here, we were falling from the very top, having similar patterns over and over and over again, and over and over and over. Even the smaller time scale, you can find similar patterns. The idea here is very simple. After the price rose to some highest point, traders, investors who have huge positions of this coin, they are starting to sell. But if the price will go directly to the low which we had before, of course, the average sell price for those traders, huge players, it will be very low, because with such an abrupt drop, nobody will buy the coin and the order book will be pretty much empty. So then what they are doing is that they are probing the market. As soon as they have enough buyers, they are continuing to sell. But when the number of buyers is getting smaller, then they are starting to pump the price of the coin very sharp, so they don't spend too much money on that. And then after that, people see, okay, it's probably a reversal, let's buy in again. And at that point, more new buyers appear and huge players start to sell to them once again, over and over and over again. So eventually, of course, this point should be reversed. We shall see something like a huge volume on the bottom. We should see a higher high and the chart should start to go to the upside. For example, the same Litecoin. So you see, this was happening with Litecoin as well. But then at some point, we see a higher high, we see a higher low, and the trend got reversed. We don't see such formations anymore, even on the corrections to the upside. Pretty much the same you can tell about Binance Coin. Even here in 2018, there was not so many manipulative patterns as we saw for different coins. It's pretty much sideways with some of the V-shape reversal after the drop to the previous low, but actually we didn't have a lower low, neither here nor here, and then consolidation at the same level. Here it was because of the drop of Bitcoin from 6,000, but then you can see how fast the price returned to the upside, and then although it dropped a lot after that, but we saw continuation of the trend with higher highs and higher lows. And this is completely different chart structure than you can see for the other altcoins. Another example, Cardano. So you see, this is what you have for the downtrend. Over and over again, you see the same formations, but around here, we saw higher low, we saw higher high. Yes, there was a shakeout for all the altcoins, so Cardano couldn't stand as, for example, Litecoin did, so it dropped as well. But in fact, you see, we don't have a lower low. It's still consolidating in the same area. And moreover, this kind of thing may be treated as a double bottom. So this is one of the candidates for the future rise. So you see this trend is seemingly reversed. Although we see, of course, even here, we see the same formation during this drop, you see. So it appears not only on a huge downtrend, but even on the short downtrends, it also the same. But even now, you see, it tries to make a higher high. It makes higher lows. So as soon as we will see something like that, we may say that, well, actually Cardano looks strong. Cardano may repeat something similar what was made by Litecoin, and so on. Unfortunately, most of the altcoins out there look like XRP with continuation of the drops, but there are few, for example, NANO, which I was going to show you today. You can look at it with noticing this sort of smooth curves of the downtrend, which continues to going low slower and slower. And right now it's almost flat. This was actually almost flat. And in fact, this low in August 2018 was lower than this one and lower than this one. So it seems like the reversal for NANO is very likely to happen, although this was like the last attempt, maybe not last, but one of the last attempts of pushing it even lower. But again, at some point there will be more buyers than sellers and the price will go to the upside. So maybe this one will continue to go low. Maybe we'll see some leg to the downside and something like this will continue to happen. But looking at the trend, looking at the continuation of these trend lines, well, we may have a fair chance that it will reverse. So if we will see something like this with at least higher lows, then we may say that, okay, this is another candidate for the future growth. For example, you also can look at Walton. It also shows something similar. You can look at Ontology, also similar to Cardano, and so on. But at least we have some of the altcoins showing strength against the overall market, and as soon as we have Lightcoin, Binance Coin, maybe some others making attempts of having a trend reversal, then probably more and more altcoins will appear, and our task is to find them faster, sooner, to maximize our gains. So guys, I hope it was useful. Thank you for watching.